In the last months, I've made really good progress on getting the old ZXR back up and running. The finish line date was always going to be for the 7th of March. There's a motorbike ride on, a 2-day bike run. That's probably about a month away, so I reckon I've got 3 weeks to make this thing rideable, and then I'll have a week to hopefully sort any bugs out, anything that's going to let me down, because I've done a fair few mods and changes on the bike. So the first plan this week is to have a straighten out of the shed like normal, write up a list and see what I need to do to get this thing happening. So there's lots of little bits and pieces, so I'll try and kick some fast goals, get some spaces made and other bits and pieces, but really that's my plan, is to set that deadline, 3 weeks, have this thing rideable. Let's have a crack at that. I've cleaned up the bench area, it's all fresh, ready to go. I've written up the list. So here's basically what I need to do before I can test ride the bike or put it on the dyno. 34 days left until I want to ride it on that bike run that I'm talking about. So that's what I got to do. Okay, well, might as well start getting into it now. Today I've ordered the K&N filter, the globes, the boost and vacuum lines. I want to get the exhaust system down from the roof and spray it with the high temp paint. It's probably been hanging up here for quite a while, since we started the rebuild. Better get rid of the spiders off him first. I think they've made a new home. I've given it a really good wet and dry. I've used this fella here. That took all the rusty stuff off the welds. Rather than paint it straight away like I thought I was going to do using this paint, I'm going to hit it with the Ranex, which will convert the rust and stop it bleeding through, hopefully. I'll do that now and have to wait till tomorrow before I can coat it with the paint, so let's do that. Here's the pipe all treated with the Ranex. Tomorrow I'll be able to maybe sand it down a little bit more, wash the stuff off and paint them. The fuel pressure regulator's seen better days. I'll give that a clean, bit of a detail, take all the old hoses off and brackets we're not going to use, and have it all ready for when the fuel rail arrives. I'll rip that apart now and give it a clean. The fuel pressure regulator cleaned up really good. The way it works is you set your static pressure, and as boost rises, it has a sensing port here which increases your fuel pressure by the amount of boost that you're running. So if you have 40 psi and you run 10 pound of boost, it'll change it from 40 to 50 psi. I've just got the plenum chamber back from Adrenaline Performance. Sean's welded the sides in for me. They look really good, and I've had a bit of a look and I think I've got some clearance. So I'll just get the fuel tank now. I'll put him on the bike. Here she goes. Good fun doing that one-handed. But anyway, so now with that all mounted on, I've actually got clearance on the plenum chamber to the underside of the fuel tank, which was what we're chasing. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's enough for tonight. Tomorrow, I reckon we'll be talking fuel rail. Hopefully that turns up. And yeah, we'll check out the fuel system. I had a few parts arrive at work today. So with a bit of luck, the fuel rail should fit. So here it is here. They custom made it for me. Hopefully my measurements are right. I haven't checked it yet. We'll soon see. The fuel in and out of the fuel rail is a little bit wider than what I thought it would have been. So we're just going to have to cross our fingers and hope it fits. Failing that, I was speaking to Sean at Adrenaline Performance. He said we can bring the fuel in and out of the bottom of the fuel rail, which is a great idea because I never thought of that. But anyway, before I do that, I'll pull the tank off, give it a go and see if we're lucky or not. I've also bought a set of injectors off eBay, which are in this box. through Ducati, they're about $400 or $500 each. $100 for the pair and about $9 freight, and they were here within a week from Australia. So hopefully these guys are the same as this. I'll open up the box, and I suppose they better go in before the fuel rail does. The good news is they're the same. So I'll get them all cleaned up, we'll get them all flowed, make sure they all match each other's flow, and we've got a spare to play with as well. So this is just an outer housing off the Ducati Street Fighter. The good news is the new fuel rail fits. This is the original injector rail that we used, which I machined the injectors down so that they had hose barbs, which then hoses could go on, blah blah blah. There's a new one there. Fits on like a ripper, and hopefully, this is my main concern, we can get away with it. No, not so lucky. Looks like the tank is hitting the fuel rail, so now I need to take off the banjo fittings and see if that's what it's hooking up on, which I hope it is, because you know this piece here is sitting a long way from where it needs to be. So alright, tank off and identify what's going on. So with these guys removed, the banjo bolt system, it fits down perfectly, but I need to make another plan of attack how to get the fuel lines in and out of that rail. So not quite as easy as what I thought, but making progress all the same. So what we'll do, we'll plug each end of the fuel rail off and look at feeding it from the center like Sean recommended. The new game plan is to, like we said, get the banjo bolt, drill and tap it underneath the fuel rail, and then the banjo part of it can sit like this, and one there and one here. Then I'll have my entry and exit points of the fuel rail. Alright, exhaust pipe time. Give it a wash, give it a paint. Here's the pipe after I've hit it with the rust converter. It's got all this white sort of residue on it. Like I said, I'm going to take it out, give it a wash, paint it. I grabbed the scouring pad, washed it in warm water, and all that residue has come off. There it is, all painted up. Should look a lot better than the rusty old thing that it was, like all the other parts on this bike. So I'll let that dry for tonight. Might even have a crack at fitting it tomorrow. And I'll go and have a look at what else is on the list to achieve today. I went through all the old spare parts at work, all the dead stock, and I found a rear brake cable, or hose, sorry, off a 900 SS 97 model. Looks like it's going to go pretty close to fitting. Got him on there, fits on the caliper. I'm just not sure if I've got the clearance at the front of the wheel when the time comes, so won't make it permanent yet, but you never know, might work. So where I'm going to finish up tonight is basically I've repaired the throttle cable with a bit of dual wall heat shrink, which stiffened it up because it had a slight piece broken out of it, so he's good. I've decided to use the small clutch reservoirs off a Ducati. With a couple of spaces like this, I'll be able to use the clutch master cylinder line through here and flip it over and do the reverse for the front brake. The plenum chamber, that all fits. I'm going to pull its tooth, yank it out, get it glass bead blasted so that it's all a bit uniform, the finish, give it a good wash out. And I'm also going to get the fuel rail fittings drilled and tapped in so my banjo bolts can be fitted. Only 30 days left. I haven't really been able to cross a lot of stuff off my list, but I've been out busy organising stuff like the plenum chamber, getting that sorted, getting the fuel rail out to the machinist. What else? chasing up parts really, so I'll try and kick a few goals again today, and yeah, be another step closer. Alright, here we go. Here's the K&N air cleaner. I'll just oil it with the satchel that's in here, and we'll fit that on. I've used the correct oil for the filter. That just stops all the fine dust particles going through. There's the new pads in. Cross it off the list. So I've got the front brake line off the Ducati Street Fighter. I'm not sure why, but it seems really long. So it's got to go up here, yet it's another 10 kilometers long. So what I might do, I'll have a look at a bike at the shop just in case I'm missing something silly, but really it's too long. Even the rear brake line is a bit of a compromise, so I might end up just ordering a set of HEL custom brake and clutch lines for it. Okay, so time to go to work. Have another crack at the servo. I've made a good plan what I want to do with the finish on the plenum chamber. Basically, we've gone out and bought one of these Sandblaster cabinets. We're going to run it through with the garnet first, fine garnet, and after that we're going to drop the pressure back to 50 or 60 psi and use the glass beads to try and give it the this satin sort of finish, which has been around for a long time and looked really good. We'll have a play with the garnet. I'll show you the cabinet, as I've just bought it and I've never used one before, so any tips on what you reckon I should be doing would be much appreciated. But anyway, here we go. Here's the inside of the cabinet. It's quite large. Probably the last time it's ever going to be this clean. Here's a couple of decent scratches I'm going to try and blast out with the garnet. So I blasted it with the garnet. The textures are all very similar now, so I'll put the glass beads in and see what sort of finish that does to the aluminium. It feels quite grippy, like sandpaper at the moment, so I want it like it was before, which was just a dull, smooth sort of finish. Didn't seem to get much dirt from your fingers in it. Here's the glass beads that I'm going to put in the machine now. The glass beads done a mint job. I wasn't convinced at the start that I was doing it correctly, but in the end, after rubbing it with some rag, it took those real sharp edges off after I bead blasted it, so it actually felt correct to my hand from what I remember, and that was the finish that it was before. So now, all in all, pretty happy. Now I'm going to blow it out, wash it out, and I can probably look at putting all that stuff back on, I suppose.